welcome to the iconic Spa-Francorchamps for round 3 of the FIA World Endurance Championship race preview, brought to you by Le Mans Ultimate. My name's Alexa Rendell and I'm joined today by Sam Smith to tell you everything you need to know ahead of this incredible, iconic and just frankly one of my favourite race weekends of the year. And Sam, what is it about this place? Why do drivers love it? Why do we love it? What makes it so special?
Well, let the scenery do the talking behind us. I mean, that dip and weave through Eau Rouge and up Radillon and onto the Camel Straight is completely iconic in motorsport. So cool. There's nothing like it. For a challenge for the driver, it's not quite what it was in the old days, but it's still a real challenge in terms of getting the setup of the car right. But it's just the undulation of this place. It's a proper roller coaster. You're talking Pouhon, you're talking Blanchimont, you're talking big dippers on a racetrack, and it's just a fantastic experience for not only the drivers but the fans alike as well.
Well, let's talk about one of the things that does make Spa quite so iconic, and that's the weather. Because last year it was the rain that caused a lot of drama here. Last time out, even in Imola, it was the rain that caused the drama. Are we expecting the same this weekend?
Well, I'm loath to say that there's a settled forecast, but that's what it looks like for this week. I mean, you know, we only sort of whisper it around these parts because it comes in so quickly off the Ardennes. You know, an odd shower can flare up at any time, but it looks as though if it is going to be settled, it's going to be just as interesting in a way, because I think the temperature is going to be a little bit variable over qualifying in the race, and I think that could really test the drivers with tyres and how they use the tyres, because unlike Imola, this is a big challenge. You've got a lot of real long radius corners, you've got a lot of energy going through the rubber, so you've got to judge it so well, because here it's all about combination of straight line speed, but also how you tackle those big corners like Pouhon, Blanchimont, and obviously behind us Eau Rouge. I
think one of the things that it's actually exciting me most about this weekend is the fact that for a lot of these hypercar teams, this is the first time that they will be coming back to a track that we have raced at previously. And I really found myself, when I was rewatching the race highlights from last year, surprised at how much that gap has started to close and how much more professional some of the teams are. They've really got everything smoothed out, and I'm excited for how tight I think the field is going to be this weekend. Yeah,
I think the lap times will be interesting, see how much quicker they are from last season as well. Don't forget, a lot of the teams do test here, so they know this place inside out. I think pretty much all the hypercar teams have done test day running here as well. The one thing I'm really looking forward to is seeing if this kind of little trend that we saw at Imola of Toyota, Ferrari and Porsche kind of is stable, because it was generally about those three manufacturers. BMW did a great job and we'll come on to them. But in terms of Ferrari, Porsche and Toyota, they were really close together during the Imola weekend, and I think it could be the same here. Well,
how about we dive into our hypercar preview and start off more specifically with Toyota. The number 7 took the victory in Imola, and to put it simply, it's probably not a victory any of us saw coming.
No, they really had to work for it, and I suppose it was an opportune win. It wasn't one that came to them. They went chasing after it with the weather conditions. They've got such a great record here, Toyota. Number 7 crew of Conway and Kobayashi going for their hat-trick, so they've won the last 2 races here. Sebastian Buemi's won 5 races here before, and Toyota are unbeaten since 2017 was the last time that they were beaten here. So it's a real, you know, we talk about the basis of what they've done in WEC over the last decade, really. So this is a real sort of manifestation of that, and a good case study of the job that they've done.
Well, I think the team that would perhaps most like to take the win from them this weekend, as a little bit of revenge perhaps for all that went wrong in Imola, was Ferrari, because if it wasn't meant to be Toyota's weekend, well, it was meant to be Ferrari's, and it just all fell apart for them.
Yeah, and it happened on home turf, didn't it, which sort of rubs a bit of salt into the wounds. They've got such a lot of motivation to get back in winner's circle. You know, they won that massive race for them at Le Mans last year. This year it hasn't quite happened for them. You know, there was an element of making the wrong calls in Imola, which can happen to any team. You know, if you go by a weather forecast, many teams and drivers get caught out by that. But I think what we'll see from Ferrari here is a big fight back. I can really see them taking the fight to Toyota and to Porsche this weekend. And the other interesting thing I think about that team is the number 50 and 51 dynamic. We saw again that they were close on track. There was almost a little bit of touching at Rivazza. We saw it at Bahrain last year, and I just feel as though there's more episodes to come there. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds during Spa.
Porsche was the third team that you mentioned within that little trio, currently leading both the drivers and the manufacturers championship. Compared to this time last year where we were discussing who can beat Toyota, Porsche's reliability problems, now they're really consistent. They feel like they found their groove. I'm kind of excited for what feels like, if this weekend goes well, could be a potential championship march.
It feels more solid, doesn't it? And I think that's just a legacy of the hard work that they've done back in Mannheim and back in Weissach as well, just getting on top of this design and what the package is. What we've seen so far is consistency. We've also seen, more pertinently, is bulletproof reliability. You know, they've not had any significant issues during the two races so far. So I think Porsche Penske are already building a good foundation for a tilt at the title. Very early doors to say that.
Of course.
And a lot depends on Le Mans because you get double points.
So many points.
So I think looking at what they have, they've got a really strong chance of taking the fight to Toyota and Ferrari this season.
Well, actually, whilst we're talking about the Porsche powered cars, I think it's only right that we do mention Jota. It's been a year, this race, since they made their debut in the hypercar class. And I remember this time a year ago, us basically wishing them the best of luck because they'd barely had the car for days before they arrived here, and it was just a matter of survival. And now coming into this weekend, they're running 2 cars in the hypercar class. They've had a podium in Qatar and they're leading the Hypercar World Cup for teams. I think that's a really exciting place for them to be 1 year on.
Yeah, excitement's the word. I think there's a big buzz around that team, and it's not just the glow of the gold when they're on track. You know, they're spectacular. You know when they're coming. And I think you've got people like Callum Ilott there who've really shaken up the sort of the order of pace because he's been so quick and so impressive. Yes, he made a mistake at Imola, but so did many. I think the one thing about Jota is that the number 38 hasn't got many points on the board yet at all. You know, they've really struggled to get the results. They had some issues in Qatar, of course.
They were very unlucky there from memory,
yeah,
weren't they?
They were electrical issue, I think it was. But you know, Jenson Button is loving his craft at the minute. I think
Glad to hear it.
Jenson Button is a...
Actually, you did a nice little interview with him as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We had a good chat in Imola, and he sort of opened up about his decision to race in WEC and about, you know, just how much a full programme means to him. And I think, you know, he hasn't got the result yet, but it feels like it's just around the corner. And ditto for Oliver Rasmussen as well, who I think what he's bringing in only his second season of WEC competition is pretty substantial.
Well, let's talk kind of best of the rest, because I think the team that are sort of sneaking along with potential for a surprise podium, if not everything going their way, getting a win, is BMW with Team WRT. That they're arriving here at their home race. They're sitting 4th in the Manufacturers' Championship, and they looked really strong in Imola, didn't they?
They had a great turn of form. You know, Qatar was tough for them. I think they really struggled to get their tyres switched on. They've tested here, they know the landscape, they've had great results in LMP2 before as well. You know, Robin Freins, René Rast, Sheldon van der Linde, Marco Wittmann, they've got a super strong squad of drivers, and they're just learning more and more by every stint that they do. And I think that brought together a really strong performance in Imola. They were fighting for a podium at a late stage in that race. And to see that BMW M hybrid in only its second full WEC race sort of take it to the established constructors, I think, you know, it's a massive fillip for them. They'll take that momentum and come here at home and they'll fancy their chances for a top 6 at least, I would think.
And also where they've done a substantial amount of testing, I think, yeah, certainly could be ones to watch. But looking down the rest of the hypercar field, there's lots of different stories for us to look at. Can you pick out a few names, things that people need to know ahead of this race weekend?
Yeah, I think, as ever in hypercar this year, there's a multitude of potential stories. You know, Peugeot debuted their new look hypercar in Imola. Didn't go fantastically. They had a lot of issues. They had a spectacular puncture for Loic Duval, and then there was a big moment for Jean-Eric Vergne on the straight when I'm pretty sure he was just on slicks, wasn't he, and didn't get his tyres up to temperature. Bit of a messy one for Peugeot, but you know, I sense that once they just find their feet with that new setup of car, that they could, you know, push into that top 6 potentially. Lamborghini, some good pace, but in the race it kind of fell away from them a little bit. But again, you know, we've got an interesting driver change there as well. Edo Mortara has got a clashing commitment this weekend, so Andrea Caldarelli's in the car. Peugeot are down to 2 drivers because Stoffel Vandoorne and Jean-Eric Vergne are over in Berlin. So yeah, I think, you know, that whole question of whether 2 drivers works as opposed to 3, it didn't work too badly for Lynn and Bamber.
They said they really enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, they didn't get, you know, I think they got a point, didn't they? But,
yeah.
You know,
seat time.
Drivers at Spa, they're not going to grumble about having extra seat time, are they? So, you know, I think that'll work fine for the Peugeot guys. You know, and I see them potentially getting a result here, top 6 potentially. Other than that, you know, Alpine have got a lot of work to do understanding their hybrid system. And Isotta Fraschini, you know, they had a bit of a messy start to the race in Imola, but actually, when you strip out the errors by some of the drivers, the actual stint pace, some of it was pretty decent. So, you know, they'll only improve as the season goes on.
Are you happy with where we're at, or do you want to pause with the rain? Because that's Hypercar done.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, you're cool with us keep going?
Yeah, perfect.
So after us saying that the forecast was nice and predictable here in Spa, it's now promptly started chucking it down. So we thought 2 birds, 1 stone, track tour and doing the LMGT3 preview. So welcome to our golf buggy. I think this is quite the support series we've started establishing now. And how about we talk about our winners and our second place in LMGT3 in Imola. WRT, what a phenomenal weekend for that team. Now heading into their home race, can they carry on that success?
I don't see why not. I think what they did in Imola was really special. You know, we talked about Toyota and them chasing the race. BMW WRT did a similar job, and they did it super dramatically, you know, not changing tyres. Augusto Farfus showing all his experience in handling those conditions. You know, at times they were overtaking hypercars, which was...
That was so cool, by the way.
Incredible. They did such a good job. Here on home turf, they've got a lot of experience and really good, strong results in LMP2. I don't see why they can't double up and get another result here. Having said that, I think the Ferraris will be really good. So look out for 54 and 55 as well with the Vista AF Corse cars. They'll be really quick in a straight line. So they could have something to say about the momentum of BMW and WRT here. Well,
another team with some serious momentum is the Manthey Purerxcing, currently leading the championship, but it's quite a different story for their sister car. What's going on there with the Porsches?
Yeah, very much a season of 2 halves, let's say. The Purerxcing car's got a pole position and a victory as well. Done a super good job. Alexander Malikin, I think, has been one of the stars of the season. You know, he won't be well known to some of the WEC paddock, but he's done such a good job. The other car, the EMA car, has had a difficult campaign so far. They've got another experienced driver with Richard Lietz in that car, but they had a really awful start to Imola with an accident off the start line that really
kind of ruined their race, right?
Ended their race. They were not going to get anything there. 0 points at the moment. So while one half of the garage is celebrating and getting a good bundle of points, the other really need to make up for that. So I anticipate the EMA car could be one to watch this weekend as well. I
think another one to watch for me, personally, I've been quite excited by the progress of the Aston Martin team, that they've just been really consistently racking up points quite quietly in the background, not drawing too much attention. But heading into this race weekend, they were good here last year. They've got a good couple of drivers. Could they be ones to watch as well?
Yeah, I don't see why not. They've been quite impressive, actually. Good consistent speed in the free practice sessions and the qualifying. You know, they only did half a season last year with Ian James, Alex Riberas and Daniel Mancinelli in that car. They've formed a really nice, tight team there, and I think that they could be in the mix for a decent result here. You know, Aston Martin have got a super strong record here at Spa as well. So yeah, I think they'll be at the forefront of LMGT3. And
one thing we actually haven't mentioned yet is the fact that we've got 5 Belgians on the grid racing with us this weekend. I think 2 of them are a really fun prospect for a proper battle of the Belgians, qualifying battle between Sarah Bovey with the Iron Dames and Tom Van Rumpy with the TF Sport Corvette. Who do you think could come out on top there? If it would be either of them, or is it not going to go the way of our Belgian friends?
Well, it could well be. It could well boil down to that. You know, Van Rumpy has got a pole position already this season, and Sarah Bovey's already evidenced how good she is over 1 lap. I mean, she's great in a stint and throughout a race as well. But yeah, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? A sort of Belgian off in LMGT3. I could see that whetting the appetite of the big crowd we're expecting this weekend. I mean, Iron Dames had a really tough Imola contact and then problems that resulted from that contact on the first lap. So they're going to be super keen to get a proper race under their belts this weekend. And, you know, Sarah and Tom have got all the necessary motivation they need here on home soil.
And as we head down the wrong way on the main straight here in Spa, let's do your favourite time of the week, Sam. Your predictions.
Well, as we're in the glamour of international motorsport, as you can see here, Alexa, I will treat you to a prediction. I think that Ferrari will come back fighting really strongly, and I'm going to be slightly controversial in the sense that I really fancy the 83 car's chances here this weekend.
Okay.
They were super quick at times at Imola. They got ultimately scuppered by a penalty, but Robert Kubica, Yifei, Robert Schwartzman, who I think he's been missed as one of the real standout rookies so far, but he's done a really good job in that yellow AF Corse Ferrari. I'm going to tip them to a surprise, you may call it, but I think that they could, you know, the sort of the privateer aspect of Ferrari could cause a little bit of surprise this weekend. LMGT3, I think I said it last time and it didn't come off, but I think the Vista AF Corse guys will get a victory here. You know, Thomas Floor has been super good here at Spa before, and with Davide Rigon and Francesco Castellacci. You know, Castellacci's got a little bit to make up on last year. He was involved in that shunt with Jacques Villeneuve at Blanchimont, remember? So he's going to feel as though he's going to come back fighting, and I could see those guys getting another victory to add to their victorious canon so far. So
what you're saying is a little bit of Ferrari revenge after not much going on at Imola. Now, maybe a bit more.
Well,
on the podium.
Our predictions have gone so well with it not going to rain at all this week. So
I think we've just jinxed you. Sorry, guys.
There we go. It's a nailed-on Ferrari double win, I think. Yeah,
I like it. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining me, Sam. And as we head through the final bus stop chicane, all that remains left to say is make sure you're following along with all of the action on the FIA WEC social media, FIAWEC.tv. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of it because you can never predict what's going to happen here at Spa. Thank you to Le Mans Ultimate for bringing you this episode, and we'll see you after the race for the debrief.